Welcome back, everyone. Sheepdog Smokey here, and we have something I've been watching for a little bit that has now happened in Alabama with Governor Kay Ivey signing chemical castration bill into law. It was introduced not long ago that anyone convicted of the sexual abuse of a child 13 years of age or younger would be required to undergo chemical castration procedures. And of course, this is extremely controversial. We have people on one side, like myself, who support it, but you have people on the other side who don't. Pardon me. We're almost out of this allergy flare, I hope. But there's a lot of misinformation and lack of education on this that needs to be brought forth. One, this is not someone accused of the sexual assault of a minor 13 years of age or younger. This would not be for someone convicted of child pornography. This would be someone convicted of the sexual assault of a child 13 years of age or younger. Before they can be released, they must begin chemical castration procedures. Now, this is a medical procedure done by regular medication. This is not a surgery. This is not physical removal of any body part. It's not even permanent. You see, this is basically a temporary thing that makes your sex drive go away and impossible to commit any sexual acts. And you have no right to either of those. Period. There is no human right to a sex life. And I don't even want to know where people get that idea. But you see, Kay Ivey signed this bill on Monday. And I support this. The legislation defines it, though, as the receiving of medication, including but not limited to medroxyprogesterone acetate treatment or its chemical equivalent, that, among other things, reduces, inhibits, or blocks the production of testosterone, hormones, or other chemicals in the person's body. This makes it so that you don't have sexual urges, because your body chemistry changes, and you cannot perform sexual acts. And there is, from what I've read, a provision in the bill that does allow for a time for this to stop, which would then ultimately reverse those effects. You stop taking it, your body then once again produces those hormones. You see, not permanent, not invasive, not painful, nothing. In fact, aside from possibly having to register as a sex offender, which you would have to do anyway, no one really will know that you're taking these. Now, there is a provision in the bill here that states the offenders after conviction must pay for the treatment, but they cannot be denied parole if they can't pay. So this is not even, you have this or you stay in jail forever. Nothing in this violates a human right. And this is part of a story, part of a problem we have in society today where everything is considered a human right, to the point where we have some countries even looking at decriminalizing child pornography. We have people actually advocating that pedophilia is just a sexual orientation. We have people advocating for changes to laws to make the age of consent much lower than it already is. I don't understand how anyone can look at any of those and say those are good things. They put the most vulnerable among us at greater and greater and greater risk. At the same time, we have liberal politicians campaigning all over the country to strip law-abiding citizens of their rights to own firearms because, well, it's for the children. Pardon me. Because, well, if it saves just one, and of course it won't. You look at mass shootings, they happen where people are not armed. But then we have things like this where they fight against laws that actually would protect children. They actually would stop sexual predators from doing anything. You would think in the wake of the Me Too movement after Harvey Weinstein and the rest that this would be something liberals would cheer as protecting the future of our country from becoming a victim. But no. You see, because this is something conservatives support, liberals are adamant that it must never happen. And unfortunately, this is probably, like any other bill that conservatives like, going to be challenged in court after court after court until it ultimately reaches the Supreme Court and is hopefully ruled in favor of. You see, we have some very intelligent people on our courts. Unfortunately, we have some very activist ones as well. But when you get to the Supreme Court, we have people who are going to say, wait a minute, it's non-invasive, it's non-painful, and it is not permanent. And there is no human right to a sex life. So no, this does not violate any rights you have. You are still free to have a job, to earn money, to buy a TV or a car, whatever. You still have your rights to free speech and so on and so forth. So this doesn't violate any right. And as I've said in other videos, I've read the Constitution. It's been a while, but I've read the Geneva Convention. I've read a lot of these things. I'm one of those weirdos that likes to read nonfiction, that likes to study politics and history. And I can tell you, point blank, this does not, in any way, shape, form, or fashion, violate any human rights. And I really am hopeful that more states will start passing things like this. We have an entire generation convinced that everything they want is a right, and anything they hate, you don't have a right to. That same generation has been failed tremendously because they don't know what's in the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence. They don't know what's in any of the documents they cite as proof that you're violating their rights by your mere existence. But they'll go to bat and they'll fight tooth and nail and they'll go to hell and back to protect child molesters from being prevented from molesting children. It amazes me, honestly it does. But when I look at the world and I see parents allowing their children to be around what I consider to be very sick individuals and allow them to learn how to basically strip dance and so on and so forth, we have parents who are just convinced that, well, my little baby, he may only be 4, but he really thinks he's a girl, so we're going to start this. And they go through a medical procedure that forever alters that young child's body. But this, an adult who preys on children, can't be punished by having their sex drive taken away. Personally, I've talked about it before. I've made the comment of, if anything happens to my niece or my nephews, my sister, my mother, I want 5 minutes alone with the idiot who did it. And it's a sentiment I would say brothers, uncles, fathers share all over this country. And I really hope that this does not end up being the latest sacrifice to the god of progressivism, that everything and anything that this group wants is a right, but everything they hate must be stripped from the world. Because the more that is allowed to prosper, the closer this world gets to damnation. But honestly, there's not much more to say about it. I am going to watch this because, unfortunately, I think I'm right, that this is going to end up being a drawn-out court battle, Alabama versus the liberal universe, until it reaches the Supreme Court. And then I can only pray that they properly rule that, no, sexual deviants do not have a right to a sex life. But I guess we'll see. I've talked long enough. Let me know what you think, and as always, remember to stay civil. We do not learn from an argument. We only learn from debate. As always, please remember to like and share the video so we can widen the conversation. And again, please remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you're among the first to know of all new content as it's posted. Until next time, everyone have a wonderful day.